Okay, you all seem to really enjoy that anime channel point redemption that I made on my last tutorial. Hopefully you watched it, because today we're pushing the envelope. We're going further and we're gonna do something that is way more complicated to hopefully achieve a cool result. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I originally told my sponsor at the beginning of the month that this tutorial would be about the dog with the long face, the "let me do it for you," that meme. That's what I wanted to do with Streamer.bot and OBS and all that, but the meme is kind of on the decline right now, so I decided, hey, why not go back to an older meme, but something that has to do kind of with anime that you might enjoy. And this is what we created. So you're here, you're chilling, you're talking, yeah, live streaming. I'm super happy that you guys are here. Today we're gonna be playing this and that, and someone redeems it and it goes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo, pose, pose, pose.
So by the end of this video, you will know exactly how I made this and you will have access to the assets for free. And I'm recording this intro in advance, so I have no idea what it actually looks like yet. So let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor and then we can begin. Actually, it's sponsored by Own Pro. And if you don't know what Own Pro is, it's basically a service that gives you everything you need as a live streamer to begin your journey. Own is already known for having the biggest overlay library on the internet. So you get access to over 600 of those and they are available in multiple languages. You install full overlay packs in one click. You get your own chatbot that will not only help you moderate, but it will also tell you when you have new alerts. So with Own Pro, you get access to overlays, alerts, a chatbot, widgets, your own donation page, copyright-free music, extensions, analytics, and Own Pro is free to use. But if you want to unlock more features, look at that. You can get 50% off the premium version with the code New Year. So go check it out over at own.gg/getlevelpro. That is own3d.gg/getlevelpro. All right, I hope you're ready and I hope you watch that other video because we're going to be using a lot of the same techniques. We will be using Streamer.bot in order to trigger some animation and all of that. And of course, the animation is going to be through the Move Transition plugin with OBS Studio. So hopefully you know how those things work. This is not like a beginner friendly, I guess, tutorial. Also, since this is going to be kind of meticulous, there are some steps that I'm only going to show once and then I'm going to skip the rest if I'm going to repeat them. Okay? I want this to be educational, but not boring. So step one, I'm going to explain the sound, how I came up with the sound. Hopefully you can come up with your own sound. If not, it's fine. I'm going to actually give you access to this one, link in the description. The song we're using is actually from an artist named Apollo Fresh. There will be a link in the description. Check them out, support them. And if you're going to replicate anything in this tutorial, make sure you give them credit when anyone asks you, basically. Okay, so here's how I created our version of this sound. We basically cut the part that we wanted from the music, and then I added a couple of sound effects. This sound effect is from a popular Vine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
For the transition towards the end, I added a reverse snare. And then I added an impact. Oh God, that was loud. And in order to mark the moments that we need to pose, I added a camera sound effect. That simple. So the result is this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo, pose, pose, pose.
And I'm using Adobe Premiere here, but you could be using any editing software to do this. We're going to export this as an MP3. Just for the sound, basically. Now it's time to prepare our OBS Studio. Now, the main thing, just like the other tutorial, is you want a scene with just your camera so that you can add it and add filters and do whatever you want to do, right? So now we're going to create a brand new scene. We're going to call this one Jojo Pose. We're going to click OK. And we're going to add that scene. In my case, it's called Main Cam because it's the main camera. Click plus and add the scene as a source. Scene. And under add existing, of course, you're going to find whatever your camera is called. Nice. Now the sound we created actually has 4 snapshot sounds. So we're going to actually need to duplicate our camera 4 times. So I'm actually going to start by grouping this one camera and then we're going to duplicate it. All right. So right click, group selected items, and then name the group. And since we're going to be representing Polaroid pictures, I'm going to call them pic. That's going to be pick 1. Now, before we duplicate the group, we want it to be in its final state. So we need a Polaroid image. And I found this one just on Google. I made sure that the license is Creative Commons, so I have the rights to use them. And I just downloaded it. Okay, go back to OBS and let's add that image. Click plus, add image, name it Polaroid, click OK. Well, name it whatever you want, really, and go find it wherever you downloaded it. Mine is right there. Double click and that should add it. Click OK and we're fine. Now, this is kind of the time you might want to determine exactly how you want it to be, how big and all that stuff. Also keep in mind that you can add filters to this. So for example, it's kind of gray. If you want it to be wide, you can add color correction filter, but you should know all that. I actually want it to be quite big because I'm gonna make them stack on top of each other. We will be messing with the rotation a little bit later, but I think that's pretty fine. So now all I have to do is place my camera underneath it so I can get an idea of the framing that I'm gonna have. I might want to actually flip the camera. I'm gonna right click and flip horizontal. Okay, not bad. Now I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard and then drag the sides in order to crop it to make sure that it fits. Just like that and just like that. Congrats. Now your Polaroid is outside of the group. You want to drag it and put it in the group on top of the camera, of course. And now you have a group with your Polaroid. There we go. It's that easy. I shouldn't even tell you the rest. You know what to do from there. I'm joking. You should really, if you watch my other tutorial. Anyways, this is where we get to play around with everything. So you want to right click on that group. You want to copy. You want to right click outside of the group or even on the group. It doesn't matter. And click paste duplicate, not reference, duplicate. Do not control V. You want to paste a duplicate because it's going to be a different source in a way, meaning that if I add transformation to the first one, it's not going to affect the second one. That's the power of a duplicate. And you can move this around. Oh, look at that. There's two of me. Now I can play around with this again as much as I want. I can transform this, flip horizontal. All right, remember that we need 4 of those. So let's right click, paste duplicate again. Move it kind of out of the way, right click. Duplicate again, and let's move this one out of the way. Let me flip the camera for this one. Now, if you want to change colors, just like the other tutorial, you can add filters to the groups. Sources like the camera itself or the Polaroids themselves, if you add filters to them, it's going to change on everything. You want to add the filter to the group. For example, I'm going to click on the second folder. I'm going to click filters, plus color correction. Nice. And for example, I can bump up the contrast on that one. That one. There we go. Maybe I want to play with the hue a little bit. There you go. It's kind of different, right? Do the same thing for the rest. All right, so I exaggerated the effect a lot just so it can really stand out. You don't have to do that much. Okay, time to place them in their final state. All right, I ended up changing the order a little bit. I might have to rename everything just so it looks clearer for you. So in the layer order, pick 4 is going to be the middle one, and then pick 3, pick 2, pick 1. Now we can add some rotation, and the way you do that in OBS Studio, you can actually rotate however you want. You can right click, go to transform, go to edit transform, or just press Ctrl E. And from there, you're going to have a rotation value right there. For example, for here, I might want like minus 15 degrees. There you go. And you can close it and you can just place it wherever you want. Here, I'm going to press Ctrl E and I'm going to have 15 degrees on this side. Close this and just place it. I might want this to be a little smaller, maybe. For the one at the bottom, pick 1, Ctrl E, and I'm going to put like 5 degrees. That seems okay. And for pick 4, I'm going to put like -2. There we go. Now we can add the audio that we created. Click on source and we're going to add it as a media source right there. I'm going to call this one music, click OK, and go find it. And we're actually going to use an option to our advantage here. We can basically make it so that the song only starts playing once we activate the source. Click OK. And right now it should be playing, except we can't hear it. You can see it's blasting right now. Let's bring that down. And I wrote music wrong. There we go. And what you want to do is click on the options next to it. Click on advanced audio properties so that you can hear what's happening at the same time. And we want to set this music to monitor only. So desktop audio will pick it up. The source itself will not be broadcasted. And that thing about activating it, making it play, if I turn it off and I turn it back on, and since it's not on a loop, it's just going to end. This also helps you actually listen to it to know like how loud is it going to sound once I'm streaming, basically. And you want it to be kind of loud. It's cool when you're taken by surprise. Now we're going to go to Streamer.bot and we're actually going to make them appear in order to the beat of the sound. I'm going to do level by level. So we're just going to turn them on right now. And then we'll go more complex and actually add a little bit of movement to it. Maybe adding a flashing image. I don't know yet. Let's just get into the basics for now. I'm going to turn off everything because we want Streamer.bot to turn them on, remember? Boom. Let's go to Streamer.bot. I have it here. It's connected to my OBS. I'm going to go to actions. I'm going to click add, right click, click add, and we're going to call this one Jojo pose. Put it in a group if you have groups, click OK. All right, in sub actions, we are mostly going to just turn things on. The thing is here, we need to know exactly the delays. Since we created the sound ourselves, or if you're using another sound, you can put it in any editing software and basically play around with the playhead and figure it out. In my case, I know every single time you hear a snapshot, that's where I want an image to appear. So I can just put my playhead here and you can see that's 125 in milliseconds. That would be 1,250. So let me make sure that I actually have the sound turned off. We're going to right click. We're going to go to OBS. This changed, didn't it? Go to OBS, go to sources and click set source visibility state. In this case, we're going to turn on the music first. Source is going to be music and the state is going to be visible. We can test it. It's going to turn on the music. Nice. Click OK. Make sure you turn that off because, well, it just changed the state. And now we need to make it wait. How much? 1,250 milliseconds. So right click, go to core and go to delay and put 1,250. Click OK. And what do we want it to do after 1,250? We want it to start actually turning on the folders. So right click, OBS, sources, visibility state, pick the right source. In this case, pick one is going to be the name of our group. Click OK. But here's the first obstacle that we have. We want the next delay to be in between this time. So it turns this on, it waits, and then it turns this on, and now it has to wait. So I can't just get the delay by just moving the playhead because it tells me basically the delay between the beginning and that time. So in my case, I'm going to put in and out points to figure out when. I'm going to press I on my keyboard. It's going to set an in point and I'm going to go to the next snapshot and I'm going to press O on my keyboard. And you're going to see that here, Adobe Premiere is telling me that it's 270 milliseconds. That seems wrong, but let's try it out. Right click, core, delay, 270, and then set visibility state for the next group. I'm going to use that method for now, and I'm just going to go through all of them, and we'll see if it's on beat at the end. By the way, in order to go fast for things like that, if you have like the same delay or if you have the same type of action, you can just Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste them and then just modify what you want to modify. That's how I go fast. From the last snapshot to the end of the audio, I want to know when I need to set the visibility to inactive. And it's 3 seconds in 25 milliseconds or 250 milliseconds. I'm going to copy this delay, paste this delay, double click and just change it. And then from there, I'm just going to copy paste all the visibility things and I'm just going to set them to invisible or inactive, if you will, hidden. Okay, let's assign it to a channel point redeem and test it. I'm going to go to platforms. I'm going to go to channel point rewards. I'm going to right click, click add. Call this one Jojo pose. This is where you set up your cost, your color, your description and all that stuff. I just want to test this. I'm going to click action, Jojo pose, click select and click OK. All right, so we have a new channel redemption thing. Let's go back to OBS and let's test it. So here I'm going to have my channel points. It's right there. And cross your fingers. Hopefully this works.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And it didn't turn off the music. Okay, so we have a couple of errors and we have to play around with all of that. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn off the music. Hidden. Boom. Okay. I believe Premiere is kind of lying to us. Since the beat is in a pattern, if we find the right pattern, we can just repeat it for every snapshot. Oh, that's because this is actually not showing me the seconds. It's showing me the playhead position relative to the frames. This is a 30 frames per second composition. If I move this from 129, it's going to jump to 2. Yep. Okay, that's the issue. So what I have to do is show the actual time and I'm going to right click on the timeline here, click on show audio time units. There we go. I think this is going to be precise, which means it actually starts at 1.4. I'm going to take like the 3 first decimals after. Okay, let's hope it works better now.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo pose, pose, pose.
It's not really working. Okay, I got it. It's actually, I have to right click on the time and put it to milliseconds. All right, those are the real numbers. They're in milliseconds, right? So 1.8 seconds, 800, 900, 800, and then 3000 for the ending. So this should work. Let's try.
1, Go. 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. And then stop. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, you know what? Let me just put one here. Here's the thing. This is how, like, you're pretty much done if you want to stop here. This is how you would activate it, right? So we have a scene called Jojo Pose in your, for example, your full screen. This is my just chatting screen. What I would do is click plus and then add this as a scene, and I would keep it active. All right, so let's find Jojo Pose, click OK, and I would keep it active, right? But when you go in Jojo Pose, everything is supposed to be turned off. It should start turned off, right? And then here, I'm doing my just chatting scene, or even my game scene if I add it to my game scene, which you definitely should. And then someone redeems it, right? I'm having a deep conversation and blah, 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 blah. And then I hear the 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, pause. Oh, yes. Yes. And you can hold that last pose if you want. There's another way you could do this with actually using screenshots, but I didn't want the video to be too long. So you have this thing. Now, I did mention the move transition. What you can do is, it's a little complicated. What you can do is basically add to Streamer.bot an extra step for each group. So the move tool would have a normal position, and then it would have a second position. And you would have to actually go create those positions, first of all, and then figure out the right delay to trigger them. So I imagine the snapshot could be like huge and it's dropping, right? You want to do that? Let's do it. Let's go to our scene called Jojo Pose, and let's right click on the scene. Let's go to filters. Let's click plus, and let's go ahead and add move source. We want to name this pick final 1. That means final position of pick 1 group. Click OK. We're going to pick the source as pick 1. And what we want to do, even though it's invisible right now, we want to click get transform. That means we recorded that final position. So that's it. That's the final position. Now I can duplicate this, right click, duplicate, call it pick big, click OK. And let me just turn it on for this demonstration. And I'm actually going to scale it up. I'm going to move it a bit and I'm going to scale it right up. So it's pretty huge like this. And then I'm going to record its position now and its scale, right? Because its position, scale, and rotation. You can even make them rotate a little bit. And I'm going to click Get Transform. All right. So if I want to test this, all I have to do is click on that first position. And big, like that. So basically all you have to do with Streamer.bot is make sure that this is by default big, so that when it turns it on, so it sets visibility state visible, that right after that, it turns on this filter. So it appears and then it drops. So we're going to add those 2 move filters for each group, and then I'll see you then. Okay, so we got it done. So big, small, just test them, make sure that they work. Now, of course, in Streamer.bot, we just add them and we add them in the right position. So source visibility, music starts, delay, OBS source visibility, and then filter towards the final form. Because after they're hidden, we're going to make them go big again so that they're ready for the next one. So right click OBS, and under scenes, because the move tool, we're applying it to the scene, you want to set scene filter state. All right, the scene is Jojo Pose, yes. And the filter is pick finale 1. Click OK. And it added it at the bottom, so make sure you just place it where it needs to be before the delay. Now I'm going to Control C, Control V. It's going to place it at the bottom. I'm going to put this under the pick 2, double click, and just click on the right one. So pick finale 2 and repeat. And now in order to get them to go back to their big state, we want to add those filters at the bottom. I'm going to duplicate this one, duplicate sub action. It added it at the bottom, double click, and you want to go in order. So pick big 1 in this case, click OK. I think I misnamed this. This should be pick big 1, but whatever, you get the point. Duplicate this one, double click, big 2, click OK. Now, if you're not familiar with the move transition, you're realizing that we're setting the filter state to visible, but we're not shutting it off. The thing is, it shuts off automatically, right? When I click on something, it turns off after the delay that the default delay in this case, which is 300 milliseconds right there. So when you click, it turns off automatically, which is nice. Okay, now to make sure that we're ready, since we haven't run this yet, it hasn't set everything to big. We're gonna go and manually set everything to big by clicking on big, 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 pause. And let's see what we have as a result. Hopefully it didn't break anything. Let's set it off.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo, pose, pose, pose.
Oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. I wish the opacity was something that the move transition would also control, so I could maybe make them fade out. But we did it. We did it. Watch this again.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jojo, pose, pose, pose.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Well, of course, if you wanted to, you can probably like make them spread out and go away. You have the move tool, you know how it works now. All right, one more time. So you're gaming here. Well, for example, I would definitely want this scene that I added on my just chatting scene here. I would want it on my game scene also, right? I would click plus, add it as a scene, find Jojo pose, click OK, and keep it active here. And of course, you can make that smaller if you don't want it to be as intrusive, but I think it's worth it. So you're here, you're chilling, you're talking. Yeah, live streaming. I'm super happy that you guys are here. Today we're gonna be playing this and that, and someone redeems it, and it goes. Here you go. Pretty nice. You're supposed to hold the last pose, I guess. And there you go. There is obviously a ton more that you could be doing with this, but I think you get the gist of it. Turning filters on and off, turning sources on and off, moving things around. I taught you all of that, so you got this. Get creative with it. In the description, I'll put a link to everything. You'll get a link to that little audio that I made. If you want to create it yourself, I'll give you a link to also the Polaroid PNG. I advise you, like use your own images, get your imagination rolling a little bit, get creative. I don't have to come up with everything that is on your stream, but hopefully this video actually inspires you. If you watched till here, first of all, thank you so much for watching the whole thing, but also I stream on Twitch to everyone's surprise, apparently. I stream on Twitch, so go follow me on Twitch. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you're subscribed because there's gonna be more videos like that coming soon. So go out there, make me proud, get level, out.